talk about this really important issue with us. There are few, if any, people in America who are a greater role model for the solutions to the challenge that we face in public education than Jeff. Before we get started, we wanted to play for you the trailer for the movie Waiting for Superman. I saw it this past Saturday. Anybody in this audience who doesn't see it, you're shortchanging yourself. And let's just see a little bit of the beginning of what set the scene for our conversation today.
I don't know what college I want to go to, but I know I want to be a teacher. I want to be a nurse. I want to be a doctor.
How come?
Because I would like to help somebody in need.
You wake up every morning and you know that kids are getting a really crappy education right now.
So you think that most of the kids are getting a crappy education right now?
Oh, I don't think they are. I know they are.
Even the kids are getting stupider every year, or something is wrong in the education system.
I just try to do my best at school and make my grandmother proud.
Among 30 developed countries, we rank 25th in math and 21st in science. In almost every category, we fall behind, except one. Kids from the USA rank #1 in confidence.
I think about 60,000 people have done this school in 4 years. 40,000 didn't graduate. This is the damage that this school has done to this neighborhood.
A child that doesn't finish high school will earn less and be 8 times more likely to go to prison.
I want to go to school.
For these kids, their only chance at getting into a great school depends on whether their number is picked in the lottery.
So if Francisca doesn't get it, is there another chance?
No.
Your children and future generations are on the bridge of the Titanic and everybody's going to drown.
Someone has taken an interest in you, someone loves you, and they recognize the importance of education. And the first student selected, 20. 9. It takes a lot of outrage and a lot of good examples to say, yes, we can do this.
When you see a great teacher, you are seeing a work of art.
My kids had it better than what I had.
18, 10, 12, 2, and the last number,
Saturday at the New Jersey Performing Arts Center. Jeff was there. A number of other folks who care about this issue. I was there with Mayor Booker, Mark Zuckerberg, the founder and CEO of Facebook, who is my new best friend. My 14-year-old daughter is begging me to join Facebook. And it's before this, and I said, after I had my first couple of meetings with Mark to talk about what he was considering doing in Newark, I came home to Sarah and I said, guess who's my new BFF? So we were there watching that movie. I have to tell you, it's an extraordinarily emotional experience. So prepare yourself. Because there's not one person in this audience who doesn't know, either from your own personal experience for yourself, or the experience you're now having for your children or your grandchildren, how indispensable a good education is. And when you watch what's depicted in this movie, if you don't both get sad and angry, then go to the doctor, get checked out, because there's something missing between here and here. So I urge all of you to see it. Let me just give you a few statistics about why it's so important to act on the reforms that we're proposing to act now. And Jeff's going to talk to you a little bit, and then he and I are going to have a conversation and hopefully take some questions from all of you as well. Today, in New Jersey, 104,000 students are trapped in 205 chronically failing schools. 205 schools that have been adjudged chronically failing. 104,000 students are there today being failed. In 2009, 40% of New Jersey's African American and 32% of their Hispanic Americans were unable to meet basic standards on a national test. Nearly 30% of all 8th grade students statewide lacked basic math skills. The achievement gap between the wealthy and low-income 8th graders in math is nearly the same today as it was 19 years ago in New Jersey. The gap between at-risk 4th graders and those not at risk has remained nearly unchanged for 13 years. 70% of New Jersey's charter schools had a higher 2009 graduation rate than their local district average. The grade 3 to 8 assessment in 08-09 outperformed the traditional public schools in charter schools. 71% of charter schools outperformed their local districts on language arts. 61% of charter schools outperformed their local district on math. And in the high school assessments in 08 and 09, the charter schools outperformed the traditional public schools. 60% of charter schools outperformed their local district in language arts, and 66% of charter schools outperformed the local districts in math. And for most of you, and certainly for the folks in this room, charter schools are the luck of the draw. They're the luck of the draw. I remember when I was U.S. Attorney, I went to visit the Robert Treat Academy in Newark, and one of the best charter schools in America. And I met a mom there whose son was in 3rd grade at the time. And this mother was telling me about the night of the lottery when her son got into the school. And I said to her, "What was going through your mind that night?" I said, "Mr. Christie, I knew that whether my son got picked in that lottery, it was the difference between him going to college or going to jail." No mother in New Jersey, given what we spend on education, should have to have that thought going through her mind, sitting in a gymnasium, trying to see if her child's number is going to be picked. We spend more in New Jersey per capita than in any other state in America on public education. The average spending in New Jersey per student in school districts is over $17,000 per year on average. In the city of Newark, we spend more than $24,000 per pupil per year, and 1 of every 2 children who enter the Newark school system do not graduate. Now, I don't mind paying a lot of money for something, but it angers me deeply to pay that kind of money for failure, because that payment continues. It's not just the payment we make when they're in school, it's the payment we make after they leave, when they can't get a good job and start paying taxes to the state, when some of them go to prison and wind up costing us more in prison than they would cost if we had sent them to a good school in the first place. And worse than anything else, you can't quantify the cost of lost hope. You can't quantify it, but you know that it leads to violence, it leads to drug use, it leads to family breakup. And we know that it also leads, most importantly, to the diminution of a soul. And there's only one person who can determine what the cost of that is. And they don't live on this earth. But we're responsible for doing it. And so, when I talk about education reform, and when we talk about education reform around the country, those are the costs of inaction. Inaction, and its costs are incalculable. And so I want to introduce somebody to you who said inaction was not an option, and who put his life and his career where his mouth is on this. And he's an inspiration to me, and he should be an inspiration to people all over the country after they watch this movie. And I guarantee you, by the time we're done this afternoon, you're going to be members of the fan club. I guarantee it. Jeff Canada.
I really wanted to come to New Jersey because I've been reading that people seem to be upset that Newark is getting $100 million. And if y'all really don't know what to do with the money, you can just send it over the river. We'll take it in New York. Look, this issue we're talking about, to me, is one that has really got me crazy. Can I say this? I'm looking at what's happening to the country. I know we hear about Jersey, but I'm actually looking at what's happening to America. And I realize there have been some real dramatic changes. When I was growing up, if you didn't have a college education, you could find a job. You worked in the garment factory, they were manufacturing. As the economy has changed, we have not looked at what it is going to take to have a competitive America and where our labor force is coming from. And young people have to not just get through college, they have to get through high school, they have to get through college, and it's not happening. We're not in the top 10. We're not even in many cases in the top 20. We're the only remaining superpower on the face of the earth. And yet we're providing our children with what is quickly becoming a third world education. And it just doesn't compute. If you love your country, if you love your state, if you love your city, the future is going to be based on whether or not our children are performing. And the data is in, not Jersey, the data is in across America. We're doing a lousy job. All of us in education have to say to ourselves, what do we have to do differently? And here's what drives me crazy. You say, okay, so Geoffrey, you understand that. That's not what drives me crazy. There's some of us who are yelling about we got to try some innovative things. We got to try some new things. We got to get some other opportunities. Where I grew up in the South Bronx, 53 years ago, education was not working. You fast forward 53 years, still not working. You say, okay, what did they do this year different? Not one thing. They're going to do the same thing this year that failed for 53 years, and they wonder why I'm a crazy man. But people get mad, so you say charter school, and people want to beat you up. People hate me because I say I want to support charter schools. This is public schools. They're public schools. They just are allowed to innovate. Now, the folk who are upset, I'm just saying, well, what is the answer? I'm happy. I'm fine. I'll take charter schools. I'll get off the bandwagon. Just show me an answer. Show me a way we're going to deal with this issue. Right? So our kids will get an education, and I don't care what it is, I'm going to sign on. But right now, I believe in innovation. We've got to try a bunch of different things. Not all of them are going to work. So look, charter schools, some of them are lousy. Everybody said, look, Jeff, those charter schools, some of them are lousy. Okay, close them. Close them. Get rid of those ones that are lousy.